What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Justice League the Snyder Cut Batman. And so here we do have the Justice League Batman posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Batman only comes with one accessory, and that is a batarang, and it does fit in either of his hands, and it fits in nicely. He also comes with a McFarlane display base. Other than that, Justice League Batman doesn't come with any other accessories. I would have liked to see a grapple gun, but the new no guns policy in DC is really starting to annoy me. But anyway, with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at Batman. And so here we have a closer look at the Justice League Batman, and this is by far one of the best executed figures McFarlane has done for the Justice League. I think Cyborg is still the better figure out of the two, but this Batman figure done really nicely. You can tell right here in the face sculpt, the only thing that's really missing on this figure, the 5 o'clock shadow. If this figure had just a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, it would be perfect in the face. I really do like this head sculpt. It's a really nice representation of Ben Affleck's Batman, and we really got to give McFarlane credit on that. It looks really good. Now, I do have the goggles down version. I know that there is a goggles up variant, which I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I kind of like the goggles down, especially when he has the tactical suit on. It looks really good, and I do like it. From so many angles, this looks perfect. There's really nothing I can really complain about, except for the paint. This figure is lacking in some paint. It's not as bad as the Flash. I think the Flash is the worst offender of paint, but this Batman still suffers from a lack of paint, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, I really do like this head sculpt. It's done very nicely, and they did a really good job on the cowl. You can see all the detailing on it. It's so well done. The other part that is very well done is the cape. Now, this cape really does remind me of his first armored suit from Batman vs. Superman. That's really what I'm getting from this cape, but it's done really nicely. It almost does look like a very heavy fabric, and it just looks so nice. I do like it. And one thing I do like is that they did manage to replicate how it wraps around his actual suit, how it tabs in here in the front, and then the cape wraps around the back like so, and they did a really good job replicating that. I would really like to see McFarlane do an unarmored Batman, maybe even the Batman vs. Superman Batman, but well, one can hope, right? I mean, we are getting the blue and red Superman. Hopefully we get an unarmored Batman at some point. But yeah, I really like the way this cape looks. And if you really wanted to remove this cape, the good thing is it only attaches right here and going around, so the cowl piece is attached to the torso. This part is actually attached to the torso as well, but it's not attached to the cowl, so modification is going to be easy if you really want to replace this cape. So, having a look at the suit, really loving the detailing on this suit, although I do feel like he does need some paint. You can see some areas like these buckles that should be colored in either gold or copper. They're just silver, unfortunately, and there's a lot of instances where that should be copper. Everywhere that you see a buckle should be copper or gold paint. The little tab right here in the front of his cowl, that should also be gold. So a lot of places where there should be paint, but overall it's still a really nice figure. You can see right here, that's another buckle. That's where some more gold paint should be. And then especially right here on his spikes right here, the spike part should be gold while this part is silver. And one thing I really do like is that McFarlane captured the subtle detailing in the armor. The armor had this really nice texture in the movie where it wasn't too overpowering, but it did have some texturing. This does a really good job of capturing that. You can see the texturing all throughout the armor bits. Another thing that I think would have really benefited this figure is casting the armor and and his undersuit in two different colors, like either paint the undersuit or paint the black padding for the armor, because it kind of just looks like one piece. Now, I'll explain that in a little bit when we get onto his legs, but yeah, really do like the gauntlets right here. You can see the wrapping on them. Then we have his utility belt, which again should be a copper color, but as you can see, they left it gunmetal. Not a fan of that gunmetal, but you can see they went as far as to sculpt the clip on his back, and that's really nice. That's one detail that you never ever see on any other figure, and this figure actually does have it. But yeah, I would have liked to see some more painted detail on this utility belt, because he did have a copper or goldish belt right here. So looking at the rest of his armor, this is what I mean by casting this in two different colors. Now, the padding right here on his armor is the right color. It is black, as it should be, but the undersuit should be like a dark gray, and this unfortunately doesn't capture it all too well. Yeah, it is a dark gray, but it's almost to the point that it's black. His undersuit should actually be like a gray, but they made it black. And I know Mattel did it and Mafex did it, but McFarlane here unfortunately didn't get the same memo. And again, we have those clips that should be gold, but unfortunately they're not. But I do like the armor plating, and the reason the armor plating looks so good, especially right here in the legs, is that it is a separate piece. So there is no reason why they couldn't paint the padding right here on the armor black and have the undersuit that really nice gray color. There's really so much they could have done better on this figure, but in terms of sculpt and detail, it has quite a bit, and I really do like it, all the way down to his shoes, which have phenomenal detailing on them. Really great job by McFarlane. They did a really good job detailing this figure. He just suffers from a lack of paint, but that's perfectly okay. Other figures that McFarlane has released seem to be going this route, so it's what we're gonna be expecting out of this line moving forward. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him compared to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Batman posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Batman posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 to Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Batman posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we have the McFarlane Multiverse Justice League Batman posed next to the Mattel Justice League Tactical Suit Batman and the Mafex Tactical Suit Batman. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually run through his articulation really fast. Batman does have a ball joint in the head, which does let him look up. It does let him look down, and he does look up and down pretty well, although he has better upwards mobility than he has downwards mobility. He can tilt to the side really nicely. I do like that. Moves really good. Then he does turn left and right, no problem. Arms are on ball sockets, which do peg into the torso, so they do pivot forward and back, up and down, and you can see they do move really nicely. Arms do go all the way around, no problem. Even though the cape does get in the way a little bit, it still moves out of the way, just so you can get that articulation going. And then going out to the side, goes past 90, and I do like the fact it goes past horizontal. He does have a standard bicep swivel, which works fine. We do get double bend here at the elbow, works no problem. Then we do have a ball hinge here at the wrist, which does have up and down mobility right here. We can rotate that joint to have in and out mobility. And then of course he does rotate on that peg. So overall, really like the articulation on the arm. And just like with all the other figures, his articulation in the torso kind of suffers. That's as far forward as he leans. He doesn't lean forward anymore, and that's kind of a bummer, because that's neutral. That's all he leans forward. Leaning back, he does lean back a little bit better, side to side, better than he does forward. Ball joint at the lower torso, he can lean back about that far. Lean forward, he's probably the worst out of the bunch that we've had a look at so far. Despite the fact he has the best cuts, it doesn't really work all too well. I wonder what actually went wrong with this figure's articulation. But anyway, moving on. His legs, no, forward, no problem. I really do like that. Going back a little less than 90, but that's pretty good. Out to the side, respectable. That's about as far as you need Batman to be able to throw a kick. We do have a thigh swivel, which does work really nicely. I do like that, and you can use it for adjustment posing. We do have a double bend here at the knee. Works really good. Then we have a swivel at the foot. We have a hinge that goes up and down. We have a forward facing pin for rocker ankle, so you can get that really deep rocker ankle as you need it to. And then of course he does have a very generous toe hinge. So overall, Batman here has some superb articulation. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the McFarlane Justice League Batman pose for my final thoughts, and overall, McFarlane has done a fantastic job with the detailing on this figure. I think it looks really, really good, and a little bit of paint will make this figure go a long way. Now, that is the one downside to this figure, is that it is lacking in paint in some crucial places, and unfortunately that does seem to be the case with a lot of McFarlane figures these days. Lack of paint seems to be what's really holding these figures back, but overall the sculpt work on these guys is phenomenal. I love the amount of detailing on this figure. Another place this figure does suffer from is the articulation. I do understand making the sculpt look good, but there are companies that make the articulation work despite having really good sculpts, so there's no reason why McFarlane can't do that, and I do feel like we're getting to a point where McFarlane really needs to start stepping up their game with articulation, because the fact that this Batman has virtually zero forward crunching is unacceptable. But overall, I'm still happy with this Batman, and if you do get him posed nicely, you'll never notice it because he still poses really good in other places. So as long as you're consciously aware of that abdomen joint, you're gonna have fun playing around with this figure. And like I said, the detailing on him is superb, one of McFarlane's best that we've seen. Now, Batman here will run you $20, and you can start finding him at Walmart, Target, Walgreens, Amazon, and other big box retailers and other online retailers as well. I was able to pick up mine from Walmart. I actually got most of the McFarlane figures from Walmart. Thankfully, my pre-order wasn't canceled, and I was able to get these figures out so I could review them for you. Batman here is one of the better figures that we've seen out of McFarlane in a decent while, and I really love the amount of detail that they put into this figure. So if you haven't already picked up the Justice League Batman, do yourself a favor and pick it up, because it is actually one of the better Batman figures we've gotten in a really long time. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other DC Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos. I normally post pictures up there on something that's going to go up for review, so do check it out. And as always, take care everyone, and I'll see you later.